So we'll start up for the today's exercise that we have already stated ki what is GIS, WebGIS. We have already started yesterday. We did about how this portal will be generated, how we'll be creating it. Okay. So what is distributed GIS? We'll be studying. We have learned about WebGIS. So it's a form of WebGIS. What is distributed GIS? So distributed GIS concerns itself with the GIS system that do not have all of the system component in the same physical location. This could be processing, database, and rendering the user interface. Means like if I am saying that I am working on a data, maybe the data is available with me. Maybe somewhere somebody in Bangalore is having the server. Somewhere some person is sitting in the Delhi is having the server. Somebody is having the software. So many time what happens that when we are working in a localized or a small channel like we are studying today, all the data are with us. But when you will be working in a big company or big NGOs or a big private nationals, they have got tie up. You have to work the projects of maybe of Europe, maybe US from sitting in India, and you have to work about European. They have to create the database for their country. Many updation is required. So processing required, database creation is required. So for that you require a WebGIS, and that is also known as distributed GIS, because until unless you are not putting your data sets on the web, whether that is geodatabase or the software or the server or whatever processing or the interference you are doing, you cannot use it. So nowadays you will see that most popular tools like mobile GIS is being used, web-based GIS is used, so that such kind of operations can be done and can be performed anywhere. You're sitting anywhere, you can see what kind of database, like if somebody is, I'm an administrator and I've sent my field officers to check the crop yield estimation or for crop acreage estimation. So how would I know whether those persons have gone into the field, whether they are taking the correct measurement, or whether they are sitting ideally sitting in their hostel and relaxing? So what I'll do, be giving them the mobile GIS, and I'll be tracing them where they are. They have to share their location. I can see in my real-time software that we have customized through any of the software that we have done either through Google, or you can customize yourself and you can track the person where it is in the field, what kind of operation he is doing, and whatever information that he is collecting, he can directly transmit those information to our server, and we can work parallelly. So what will happen, our time can be saved, because many times what will happen, if I am working for the entire district and if I have got 500 persons, so until unless they are not returning back, maybe they have to go into the field and they have to do enormous rigorous field work. They have to collect the sample size data, because as the sample size is big, as the data size is big, the accuracy of the data or the assessment or the equations on the basis of which the government or we, the private organization, is trying to calculate the crop yield or acreage estimation, has to be evaluated. So if those portion will come after 1 month, and then we cannot sit ideally for 1 month waiting for the data to come, then rectifying the data, and then we can say, this data was not properly fed up, or there is an error that has to be rectified, or that was not properly recorded. On the other hand, what we can say, we can give them a mobile GPS or other kind of comparable devices or the equipment, so that the real time information can be relayed on our website, so that all the accuracy assessment, all the data collection can be transferred on the same day, and whatever error, if there is in any of the point location or any of the data location, we can directly communicate to the concerned field officer that please do check your data sets. There is a problem, maybe in formatting, maybe in recording, or maybe it was not having a proper accuracy of location, or the pictures what you have taken was not clear or is not giving a clear representation of the earth. So such kind of operation, such kind of analysis, such kind of operation can be done using web based services. So what do you mean by web-based services? So web services is an effort to build a distributed computing platform for the web. So what we have done, we have distributed it. The web platform or the web server, what we have done, all the persons who are into the field, they will sending it to the web server. Then the server will be sending to us. We are the entrepreneur or the analyst who will be analyzing the data. Again we'll be doing our processing, then again we'll be sending back to the server, and again that information will be sent to that field officer whether the data has been properly saved or not. So such kind of operation does this web provides you. So web service allows you to build a highly distributed infrastructure. So I can work, a single person can handle 500 person together, but manually it was not possible. If 500 persons are coming to me with their data sets, with their digital records, with their equipments, it's quite tough to handle the entire data sets. But if I have created a web database or web browser, and all the database I have created, all the user interface I have created, they have to just upload the data set, and parallelly I can download the data set and I can parallelly work on the data what they have recorded. So this will increase the efficiency, this will increase the accuracy, this will increase the potentiality of my organization, of my organization, of my infrastructure. So if wave service can be detected to a specific task. So you can see that in many of the department, when you are going to any of the private institution or any big MNC multinational company, there are various department that will be going, or even if you go to NRSC or ISRO, there you will be finding there is a urban department, there is a water department, there is a forestry department, there is a land use department, there is a cadastral department, there is a disaster department in India. And in if you go in the ministry also, you have got various department of IT, department of water, department of ministry of environment and forest, and they have been given a specific task. If I am concentrating on water, I'll be given with some objective, with some outcomes, with some specific targets, and I have to achieve those targets. So I have to concentrate only on those targets. I have to not to bother about the other targets or the other what they are doing. You be focused. So such kind of web-based services provides you the solution for this kind of dedicated services. So, what is a web service? A service oriented architecture. What is this? A service oriented architecture is a collection of services, the services what we are giving, or software agents that communicate freely with each other. So if I want to communicate with my client who is sitting in US, maybe there is other client who is partner to my organization is Europe. There is one person from SARC, one is sitting in Bangladesh, other one in Pakistan, the next one in Sri Lanka. So I have to work together on a common big projects. I am working. What are the changes in the atmosphere or climate change? So it cannot be a localized restricted to a computer. So you have got a what network of persons who are working together in a big project. So in such kind of situation, you have to create a service-based architecture where the services, where the softwares, where the outputs, whether the processings, each and every one can easily locate it, can easily download it, can easily process it. So web services, protocols and standards are technology that promotes the sharing and distribution of information and the business data. So what does this web services provide you? It provides you the technology, it provides you the standard, like standard method of operatives will be same. Like if I'm working in India, somebody in Pakistan, somebody in other way in US, UK. The standard formats will be distributed to each and every individual. It won't vary irrespective of the country. Like if you are in US, you are putting some other terminology, or your methodology is somewhat different. Or if I'm in India or somebody in Sri Lanka, the methodology is different. So if we are not having a common periphery or common boundary or common standard or common protocol, the data cannot be summarized or cannot be brought into common platform. Yeah, it may happen, but the time taking will be very high. Then you have to compute individually, and then again you have to upload into the web service. Rather than that, in the beginning of the project, you can provide you the standard protocol and the service, that what are the standard, what are the final outputs, that if I required a JPG map, nobody can send me a document map, nobody will send me a PDF map. So such kinds of smaller things can be said, or can be what can be analyzed prior to a project, so that the sharing is more common, and we have got a more balance, and we have got a more confident towards each other. So a protocol, so there is a protocol is a standard method for transmitting data through a network. So there is a protocol anywhere. There is a protocol in India. You cannot go directly to meet a DC. There is a protocol. First, you go to your whatever problem you have. First, you have to go to your reporting officer. Just like in your what we say, right to information, you cannot directly go first there. You will be asking the agency. If there is not, then there is a first appellant, then there is a reporting officer, and there is stages. Protocol is more kind of stages. Like if you want to go and meet to vice chancellor directly as a student, you have got some grievance related to any of the problem, whether it's related to mask, or related to teacher, or related to any problem that you are facing in your life. First, if you go and meet the vice chancellor, he will say, please go and talk to your faculty members. Then you talk to your head of the department, then the head of the department will depend on the seriousness of the problem, will go and act and talk to the dean and principal. If it can be resolved at the department later, the head will be resolving it. If he cannot, he'll be passing it to the dean or the principal. If the dean or principal can resolve it, he'll be doing from his own. If not, then it will again go to the vice chancellor, and finally the vice chancellor has to decide what has to be done. Means there is a architecture or the steps or a protocol through which you will be transmitting the data. Also, you cannot transmit the data directly to whatever that comes to your mind, and you're downloading it or uploading it. So there are many different specified protocols to accommodate the many kinds of data that might be transformed. So always you have to see what kind of protocols has to be followed in order to get that transformed. So what are the technical aspects that you have to see? For the web services, as we have already said, for transmitting of the data, first you have to identify a URL. Many of the sites, whatever you are seeing, there will be URL. Whatever you are typing in your Google, there is a URL. So URL has to be identified. Then a interface is defined. Then you have to provide an interface, how the user or the service provider will be using the data set. So that is done using XML, that is the language, and can be discovered by other systems, and can be obtained, can be searched by other system. Interact using XML based messages conveyed by internet protocol. So all these XML based messages will be convert or will be shared using internet protocol. So what is this XML messaging? What is this XML messaging? What is it kind? It is a SOP. SOP. What is SOP then? SOP is simple object access protocol. Simple object access protocol, in which you will be typing your messages. Whenever you're putting a URL, you're typing something. So what is that typing? Typing is messages. So what is that messages called? That is called as simple object access protocol. Just like identifier is an XML based messaging protocol. So that is a messaging protocol. It defines a set of rules. It defines a set of rules for structuring messages that can be used for simple one way messaging, but is particularly useful for performing remote procedural call request response dialogue. Means like if you are searching something on the internet, there is a one way messaging, means only you can download it and you can visualize and you can read, but you cannot answer it to the URL, because that kind of system, that kind of protocol has not been set in that URL. So generally when you're talking about the simple URL that we are using in our day to day life, that is based on your simple objects access protocol, that is based on XML based messaging protocol, that is XML based, where you have to define your messages, all the commands, all the text you'll be putting it, and that is a one way system. And a person who is remotely located, means I am sitting in, for example, in Ladakh, somebody in Kerala, somebody can get that information on the request on the dialogue. So what does WebGIS services do and what does GIS do? We'll be reading it. So what is WebGIS and services and GIS? So the web services concept defines the relationship between the three major actions in geospatial data set. So when we are talking about WebGIS, we are talking about web services and GIS. WebGIS means web services and GIS. So what are the three important things that you have to look into? The first one is service provider who publishes services. One is a provider who will provide you the services, service provider. Other one is service requester who sorts and uses it. One is provider, like if I've got a URL and you're interested for the remote sensing nodes or the PPT or XYZ. So those amount of information related to your search will be uploaded. If I'm concentrating myself to remote sensing, I won't have any notes related to physics, chemistry, mathematics. That depends on the objectivity and the target audience for my company. So I am a publisher, and you, if you are searching it, you are the user, you are the requester, you are the user who will be downloading the data set and who will be using those services. And finally, in between the service and this, the registry that matches the request with the existing service. So there is always a login and password attached to any of the data set that you're downloading, any satellite images or any free data from any portal, either through USGS or NASA or Bhuvan or ISRO. There is a login password created. Why this login password is created? Because the service provider wants to see your identity, wants to see your purpose, wants to see your location, your IP. What is your purpose of getting those satellite images downloaded? So when you will be downloading those satellite images, many times you have to fill up with a form that state that why you want to download this satellite image, whether that is for research work, whether that is for commercial work, whether that is for societal work. So such kinds of questionnaire are fed up in those services. Next comes GIS web service provided framework for distributed system. So I'll already have stated the example how this all services are based on. So this diagram clearly shows that how this GIS based web service is a distributed system. Like you have got USGS, you have got NASA, you have got various kinds of topographical maps, satellite imageries, digital elevation model, and there are persons who are working parallelly who are uploading the data sets on the server, so that anybody can download the data either in the form of JPG, either in the form of TAFE, either in the form of shapefile, either in the form of whatever comes to your mind. If you search it, you'll be finding on a internet. So what does GeoWeb provides you? It provides you consumer mapping. First, you have to see which are the consumers who will be using it. Consumer is the student, the teacher, the user are the consumer. So you have to see where are they located. Then you have to have a fall focused applications so that your consumer or customer doesn't get lost, doesn't get complicated, doesn't get complicated, doesn't have a data issue. The data issue should be less. Then how GS network is connected towards each other. Then you have to have a situation based awareness program. Then you have to install the sensor based networks through the entire world so that the transmission, the relay of information, the user can easily download the data. It doesn't face any problem related to its location based services. And finally, all this integration has to be done using enterprise GIS. So you can see that how the entire information related to the field of WebGIS is connected to each other, whether you say about consumer mapping, whether you say about network analysis, whether you say about uh, the other media with WebGIS framework platform for distributed system that we have already done. Okay. So you can see that the web services and managers, you see, all are at different places. The roads are at different place. The utilities are different plus. Planners are sitting somewhere. Environmentalists are somewhere. Business applications the other where. Police where other where. But all are connected through enterprise service bus. This is the bus means this is the connector, and the connector is web services and messaging. So using this web services and messaging, all the persons, whether they are from roads, utilities, and planners, can upload the data sets, and anybody according to their use can search the data sets wherever they are located. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 एक मिनट again.
Okay.
सर ने बोला है rename only for Surya record, rename the file. Okay. Again I have to send, wait, क्योंकि सर ने बोला था फर्स्ट 11 पेज ओनली लीजिए.
Fine, sir.
Wait. Okay. So I'll start up again. Can you see the screen?
No, sir.
Okay. Wait. So you can see this, that this is the web services, how the uh, connectors are connected to each other, each parameters. So this is the interoperability is important in web services. Means interpretation is important. So what is this focus is on simple and practical approaches that works. So what that we have first, if you go and recall that the database management system, when we started with the definition of what is database, then what are the different types of database, then how you have to manage the database. We started with the flat file like university system, then we moved to network and hierarchy system, thereafter we moved to database management system, thereafter we moved to relational database system integration, thereafter we move to GIS portal, and finally we'll move all this database what we are talking about into our web service, where we have got a GIS server where all the data sets will be uploaded it either through XML or through SOP. So XML is the language through which you will be uploading all this protocol, and this is Open Geospatial Consortium, where you will be using this WMS, WFC, and WCS are the various standard that we'll be studying in detail. How to upload this data in the internet using WebGIS portal. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
So web mapping services. So web mapping services is a mean of displaying interacting with the maps on the web. So the first web map services was the Xerox PRC map we were built in 1993. So you see that the GS started long back in 1950s or before that, but priorly it was concentrated to few devices, few connection. But post we thought of the people's being the data are not being attached together, they are not connected together. All the peoples are separately working, but the efficiency level was not so high. So in order to get that efficiency increased, we have now created the web map services, where the first generation in 1993 3 onwards consisted of simple image map which has a single click function. So that is a simple image where you've got a simple click function. Thereafter, the second generation came in 1996 and is still used image map, the one click function. However, they had zoom and pan capabilities, although slow, and could be customized through the use of URL API. So nowadays, whenever you are uploading the data sets or we are viewing the data sets through USGS or through Bhuvan, you have got previously it was only you can see the map, but now you can pan it, you can zoom it, you can move it, but you don't find any difficulty in doing that because of the improvement in the technology. But when it started, it was quite slow in nature. And the third generation, what we are using today, is from 1998 onwards, which utilizes the Ajax technology, which enables seamless panning and zooming. So now you can pan, you can zoom. These are customizable. You can customize using the URL API. So using API, you have got free APIs or paid APIs. You just type in Google API. So you'll be getting some APIs free of cost of Google Map APIs. So you can customize those map. You can create your own database. You can create your own URL using those APIs, and you can have a extended functionalities programmed using DOM. DOM is document object model. So you can create all those document model into DOM, just like a document file, a Word file, and you can upload that in API. API is the server where you can customize the browser, you can create the pan, you can zoom, and at last you can put that into the web service. Getting it? Okay, how this the entire things what you're being in USGS or Bhuvan or whatever, how this it's created, it is created using this portals, using these APIs and using this DOM. So what are the standards of interoperability for the Earth surface? One is metadata, then you have got services, then you have got data model, then there is a discovery, there are users who are using it. So all the data are connected using OGC, Open Space Geospatial Consortium. So what is OGC Web Services? OGC is the web services that started in 1999. The purpose of this initiative was to develop a set of interoperability specification for considering as official open space geospatial consortium. You can say that is Web Map Service Specification with WMS. So whenever you are using QGIS. QGIS is OGS, OGC, Open Source Geospatial Consortium, where you will be finding Web Map Service Specification known as WMS, then Wave Coverage Service Specification. This is coverage, this is map. So all the maps, if you want, you can get through WMS specification. All the coverage, if you want, you will be getting through the WCS configuration. If you want map features to be added into this service, then you will be getting web feature service specification. And if you want to get into registered into that, then you will be getting web registered service specification. So these are the initiatives that are created to have more of exchange of data, more of knowledge of data, so that all the data sets the viewer can access from remote location. So what is GML overview? So a standard encoding of spatial information for encoding geographical information. If you want to upload your spatial data, that is latitude and longitude content, into the GIS information, how you will be uploading it into this file. So GML, first you will to create a GML. So what is GML? GML allows us to leverage the world of XML. So if you want to create XML, you will be using the GML. What is GML? It is a graphical drawing 2D and 3D. This is a graphical drawing 2D and 3D where the data sets can be query and element selection can be done, where the query analysis related to searching of the data can be done, and finally the selection of the data can be done. And all these data sets, relationship and the metadata are stored as semantics, and finally they are transformed using spatial data and non-spatial data. So whatever data you want to create in GIS is created using this GML. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And finally, you have got GeoServer. So what is GeoServer? From the name itself, it is Geo means Earth server. So that is a server that is based on Java based platform, and that is independent. Nobody has. It's a customer based software. What you can say, a consortium where groups of people handle it. So it's a independent and server side software. So as per your service, they can customize or they will add on the plugins so that you can obtain or you can analyze your data. So what does it do? So what does GeoService do? It takes the data and publish it on the network with a variety of protocols. So what it will do? It will generate the data, it will publish it, and it will share on the network, and with a small emphasis on OGC standard, that is Open Source Geospatial Consortium standard, that is Web Map Services Specification, then Web Features Specification, and Web Worldwide Coverage Specification. Getting it? But the extension for the mask markers only one can do, that is Google Earth, Big Map, GeoRSS, GeoJON. So
Okay.
GeoServer is WMS 1.1 complete. Then WFS 1.0 and 1.1 reference implementation, WCS 1.0 complement, and soon to become WCS and 1.1 reference implementation as well. So, GeoServer reads a variety of data formats. What are the formats that the GeoServer data or the portal can read? That can read PostGIS, that can read Oracle spatial datas. Then you have got ArcSD data sites, then database, then MQCL formats, shape files, GeoTIFF, then GTOPO30, ESW, MRSID, JPG. They are the different kinds of data formats that the geo servers can handle. Though standard protocol it produces, apart from this, what it can produce, it will produce KML file, GML file, shape file, GeoRSS, PDF, GeoJSON, JPG, GIF, SVG, PNG, and many more. In addition, one can edit the data. You can edit the data using WF transactional profile, WFST, and GeoServer includes OpenLayer client for proving the data sets. So you can preview the data sets that are inbuilt, and you can add on whatever you want to add. So you have got each and every, if you have got a server, so it must have a style of saving the data set. So how you will save the description and XML document deriving map generation. So one XML document is generated designating the different map generation, and it allows the attribute and scale dependent styling. So it is dependent on the attribute and scale. All are interrelated to each other. Then finally you will create a SLD file. It's just like a file that you are creating in a shape file. In this uh, purpose, or in this, you will be using the web surface into consideration. So GeoServer has a very simple style generator. Use UDIG or GVSync to generate SLD creation. SLD is the file creator, which the file name. It's no easy to use editor with full support with SLD style. So what are the features? As we have already studied, fully complements to WMS 1.1.1. Then these are the various versions: WFS 1.0 and 1.1, transaction and locking, WCS 1.0 and 1.1 specification as tested by CIT conformance test. GeoServers additionally serve as reference implementation for WCS 1.1 and WFS 1.0 and 1.1. It's a very easy to use this web-based configuration tool. No need to have a long time of waiting and complicated. They are very easy to handle, and it can support PostGIS, Shapefile, ArcSD, database, Oracle, MQ, MySQL, MapInfo, Cascading, WFM. All the data sets can be uploaded, and it is supported. Apart from this, the raster files can also be supported, like GeoTIFF, GTOPO30, R-grade, world images, image mosaics, and image pyramids can be handled in GeoServer. So what does this GeoServer support? It supports for Mark, SID, ESWD, JPG, ADAS Imagine, NIF through GTL image file A0 extension. So any format that GDAL Geo database supporter can be added on the basis of a coding. So you can code and you can upload the data sets. On fly reprojection for WFN and WFS, MS and FS with an embedded EFSG database supporting hundreds of projections by default. So it has an excellent Google Earth supports ability to publish data to the Google Earth Geo Crawler, so that the Geo server can be exposed on Google Map and Earth surfaces. So all the Geo servers are attached to Google Map, so that you can view the data, you can interact the data, you can publish the data. So it is integrated using Geo Web Cache for accelerated tile mapping. Raw vector data is also available as GML file, that is 2.1.2 and 3.1.1, Geo JavaScript, and zipped shapefile through WFS. So GeoServer features, it is an integrated open layer as a default Ajax user and preview engine. It has a standard compliant by default, no needs to figure out complex configuration option just to serve basics data. The performance is on par with the fastest open source mapping server, sometimes faster rendering than major priority server. Support for automatic database transaction through the standard WFST protocol available on all data formats. Versioning do WFS to support wiki style history, attribution, and rollbacks on geospatial data. Integrated security to secure individual services and group of the information. All the data sets, whatever you are creating, will be fully secured and confidential. User interface is translated to various languages like French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, and many more. It supports the component of WMS and feature portrayal services. Streaming data readers are there. No memory bound limit is the amount of data that can be read. So it's a free of unlimited data space you have. It has full all SLD support, the open standard to define map styles, including both user defined and post and GET, and used natively in styling configuration. Innovative validation engine that checks inserted features against a configured set of topological and attribute based rules to maintain the backend integrity. So all the integrity confidentially, all the programmings are properly saved. What does GeoServer features do? Java Servlet Velvet based can run into server container. This means it easy supports 64-bit architecture and advanced multi-threading capabilities. It's easy to write new data formats with Geo tools, data store interfaces, and help classes, making GeoServer the standard base interface to legacy data. The modularized code base for plug services. Documentation that deals everything is easy to understand and easy to command and easy to operate. It has got an active email list for quick support. You will have a quick support in case you are finding any difficulty. Commercial grade installation support, customization, and improvement are available from an ecosystem of companies, NGOs, and consulting individuals. So it's a open based platform where you will be getting support from all the companies, NGOs, and the good persons and the knowledgeable person who are working in the field of GIS. So what are the support? You have got the user manuals. When you will be clicking it, you will be getting all these user manuals. Then you have got documentation where all the documentations related to it has been included in the GeoServer. Then you have got a mailing list where all the mailers, the persons who have registered in this OGC platform, you will get all those emails. You can subscribe it, you can use for your contacts, for your in case you're finding any difficulty in achieving or in programming or coding, they'll be helping you out. And this has got a better results than proprietary softwares. Then you have got GeoServer. Now it is known as Map Server, formerly known as WMN Map Server. So what are this Map Server? This originates from remote sensing lab funded by NASA, known as Mission to Planet Earth, started on Arc Info AML general scheme, but built on standard open source project like GD Flags, Bison, Free Type, Project Dot 4 and libtif. They are the open based software commands through which you will be writing these commands. Now systematic characteristics. What are those? This is the open source software implemented as CGI program written in NSIC oblique C++ language. The source distribution is Unisex and VC++ make files. Basic functionality, what does it do? You can create a map, you can create the legends, you can create the scale box, you can create the reference map. All are automatic in nature. You've got web application based building, simple query, simple features where you can do all such kind of functions. Then you have got advanced functionality like on the fly projection, feature annotation, including scaling, rotation, outline, drop shows, true type labels and symbols, that is free type. Then you have got feature classification like string comparison, regex, and logical expression, scale dependent display and query. All those features are available in this advanced functionality. Then you have got query by point, then area of the feature across multiple layers, quad tree spatial indexing for shapefile. Then you have got both the support of raster and vector. Then you have got URL based configuration, label collision removal. All are there in these functions. Then OpenGIS specification support for WOMS context and WFS partial is there. Then program access to underlying C API MAM script available in PRL, Python, Java, 25-bit output support including GDAL based output, GeoTIFF, all the data files it can be supposed. Then you have got vector extension that support both the files, that is vector files and raster files. Vector files comprises is3 shapefile, SD layers, inline vector files, database source like SD, Oracle, Spatial, PostGIS, raster based like GeoTIFF, TIFF, EPPL7, WMS, and various additional database formats. Then what are the outputs that you will be getting upon this? Based on your software build configuration, you can generate your output in GIF, PNG, JPG, GDL, vector based in GML, that is via WMS, WFS, or templates as PDF, as SVG, or as a templates, and it can be as a form of HTML. So how does it work? Is application is configured using a text file called a map file. A user adds to the configuration using a HTML form, that is the layer or the area of interest. All the program runs are run through a series of templates depending on the application, example data browser, feature query, and all the process begins and you will start working on it. So how this web-based server works on? So you can see this HTTP file when you work on, you'll get such kind of web-based server where all these templates, configuration, spatial data are inbuilt and saved in the map server application, and all are connected to map server and map web server provider, and finally it is uploaded as HTTP file where a user can search for and can configure for its data type. So how this map server works? So you've got a map server configuration where you've got a template file and a spatial data file, or are interconnected to each other, and where the augment configuration with the user via input is based on layer and where it is executed, and all the creation of map component and query and component temporary web space is created. Typical application layout. So you have got layouts, that is test.map file, graphics, symbols in the form of fonts, data, HTML file. So the map file is referred to be using in the full path relative to the location of map server CGI binary. Map server map files. It is based on text based, hierarchy based, controls all the aspects of the application like legend, scale bar, reference map, layer definition, web templates, and definition. So for example, if you've written a map, the how you will be coding it, you will be writing the name, application name, then the status, what is on or off, then what is the image color, that is RGB, what is the unit, whether it is in meters, feet, inches, what is the font size, its file name, what is the symbol sets file name, then what is the size you will be giving it, and finally you will be getting all these layouts, scale balls, and legend at the end. This is the basic layout object, how you will be writing this command. You will be writing the name, then you will be writing the group, then you will be writing the data name, then the status on or default, what you want, the type of annotation, whether it is a point data, line data, polygon data, raster data, or query data, then minimum and max scale, then class, item name, column name, row name, parameters, then finally you'll be providing the label, and at last this is the basic script that we have written. Then for the legend you will be writing the name, full name for the legend, then the expression will be in the form of strings or integer, then style, what kind of style, the parameters you will be writing up. The same is for the labels, the parameters you will be writing up, and at last you will be writing up for the strings in the form of text. Then styling. For styling, you will be writing all this anti-alias like it's true or false. Background color, what is RGB? What is the color? RGB offset values, D, X, and Y. Then outline RGB. Then size, symbol. What will be the symbol? Then for labels, you'll be writing tab, bitmap, true type, font size, then color, then outline color, then size, whether small, medium, large, giant, what is the position, left, right, mid, center, what is the angle, what is the buffer, all these things you'll be writing in this commands. Then the legend object. For the legend, how you will be getting this legend? You'll be writing a status, key size, you'll be putting what is the size, what is the spacing, what is the label parameter, what are the colors, all will be highlighted in the legend object. In the same way, for the scale bar object, you will be writing the status, whether it's on or off, what is the style, what is the interval, what is the color, what is the outline color, what is the unit in which you want, whether it is in meter, kilometers, then the labels, and then the colors. For the reference map object, the status will be on and off, then size, then extent, what is the minimum, maximum, x and y, then color, outline color, and then finally the image file. And this is all for today's class. Hope we have justified to our topic for the web-based applications in GIS.
Yes.
Rahul,
Yes, sir.
how was the class?
Fine, sir, but
It's the, you see, it's yeah, you have to work because this is a program based, so you can see that it's a consumer community based software. So, and right now what we are working more prominently is a proprietary base, means we are more focused on ArcGIS. We are giving less weightage to QGIS, but parallelly you have to work because in ArcGIS there is a little freedom about its composition or customization. But when you go for the open based softwares, you can create your own URL, you can create your own API, you can create your own HTML files, and all the over the world the data can be searched on and can be processed and can be analyzed. Okay, so not to worry, we'll do practicals and that will ease out you. First, you make yourself competent and confident with the terms that we are reading it to. I'll be sharing this. This was uploaded in your LMS also, and I'll be sharing it into your group WhatsApp also. Okay,
okay.
and for today, I think it's more than enough. And
Yes, sir.
thanks for listening to me. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.